In the 1990s, schoolgirls took the traditional image of Japanese beauty and turned her upside down in their own way. But these schoolgirls aren't just any girls. They're tough. They're sexy. They're rebels. They're Kogals!
Kogyaru means high school girl, but with an attitude. The original Kogals were rich private school students trying to stand up against conformity. In a male-dominated society where young women were supposed to appeal to the desires of men, these gals just didn't care. They tanned, dyed their hair, wore frosted lipstick, and rolled their skirts up into micro-minis, and were the first to wear those notorious loose socks. They weren't trying to imitate American fashions. They were rebelling. They created their own fashion. They made schoolgirls cool.
Once the Kogal fashion had become mainstream, it began developing subcategories termed as
Gyaruke,
fashions such as
Roma Gyaru,
which focused on frilly clothing,
Hime Gyaru,
which aimed at a princess-like look,
One Gyaru,
a gal typically in her early to mid-20s that has reformed her previously wild gal style and wears goods from Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Coach. Male counterparts like
Gyaru,
and
Onike,
all qualify as
Gyaruke.
without any major shared components other than optional tanning. One of the best known of these forms is called Ganguro.
After Kogyaru made its debut, Ganguro was in hot pursuit. Ganguro, which translates literally as black face, was a fashion movement that rode in on the Kogal wave, but was practiced by working-class girls who just wanted to be outrageous. Identified by even darker tans, high platform shoes, striking white makeup around the eyes and lips, and variations of the lightened and colored hair, anywhere from bleach blonde to hot pink, Ganguro appeared to be an even more extreme rebellion against the ideal of Japanese beauty. But it didn't stand for the same principles. The obsession with dark skin was not in connection with African cultures, or in proving that dark skin is just as desirable as light skin. It was about out-tanning your friends. The male version of Ganguro style is called Sentagai, named after Center Street in Shibuya, where Kogyaru and Ganguro fashions began. The style widely varies, but Sentagai makeup includes white whiskers along with the typical white eyes and lips of Ganguro. Sentakun mainly wears brightly colored clubwear and occasionally Hawaiian prints and leis as seen in some Ganguro styles. Hair is often spiked up with a side-swept fringe, or worn in a long lion-like mane, teased up to 4 inches, in blonde, silver, or other bright colors. They wear beaded raver bracelets, or jelly bracelets, and pink is a favored color in this fashion. Flip-flops or platform shoes are a must.
Another popular style for those of the Ganguro persuasion is kigurumi. Like kimono, the term comes from a combination of a verb and a noun, the verb kiru, to wear, and nigurumi, or stuffed toy. These costumes were used to portray amusement park characters, team or school mascots, and characters for ice and stage shows, but have been adapted for personal wear by fans. These outfits are often lovable animals or favorite Disney characters, the most common of which chosen by Ganguro lovers is the character Stitch, because of his Hawaiian connections. Not all girls and guys who wear kigurumi are Ganguro, and so are simply called kigurumen, or kigurumi people.
Dressing up as a favorite character has a long history, almost 50 years, and it all started in America. 1939, New York hosts the first World Science Fiction Convention. 22-year-old Forrest J. Ackerman and his friend Myrtle R. Jones appeared in the first science fiction costumes among the 185 attendees. Ackerman was dressed as a rugged-looking star pilot, and Jones appeared adorned in a gown recreated from the 1933 film Things to Come. The following year, about a dozen fans turned out in their own sci-fi gear.
Then, hall and masquerade costuming at the 1984 Los Angeles SF Worldcon ignited the imagination of Studio Hard's Nobuyuki Takahashi. Later that year, Takahashi coined the term cosplay, or cosplay, a contraction of the words costume play, and his reports on American costuming sparked the Japanese cosplay movement. In a few short years, fans began to dress up as characters in comic books, anime, and sci-fi. Later, America saw an anime boom in the mid-1990s, and cosplay was reintroduced, this time on a much larger scale, leading many Americans to believe it was invented in Japan. Those who became most involved with cosplay in Japan were largely otaku. Obsessed with anime, manga, and games, and armed with their parents' wallets, otaku often fall into the category of neets and fritas, or freeloaders. And the city with the largest population of freeloaders, Tokyo.
Harajuku's Jingubashi, a pedestrian bridge connecting the bustling Harajuku district with Meiji Shrine, became a famous meeting place for cosplayers, and Sundays on this bridge are prime time to catch devoted players in their costumes. Even in Akihabara, cosplay took root. Since 1988, in the electronics district of Tokyo, special cosplay-themed cafes like Meido Cafe and Gamer Cafes have featured girls dressed in character costumes.
Since then, cosplay has become part of the local Tokyo street scene and is a common influence in street fashions. Often, Tokyo fashionites will create their own fictional character and put together an outfit based on that character design, sometimes going as far as creating family histories and lists of their characters' likes and dislikes. Another fashion you might see is Visual Kei, a movement among Japanese rock musicians which is characterized by the use of elaborate costumes, striking makeup, and eccentric hairstyles. Visual Kei translates to visual music style and refers to music ranging from 80s goth rock to heavy metal to punk. Most bands are indie and not many make it to major labels, but some who have are those such as Malice Miser, Raphael, and Duran Gray. Fans of these and other Visual Kei bands often dress up for concerts, meetups, and other events where they will meet other people who enjoy the same music. Visual Kei has influenced many fashions in Harajuku, especially the fashions of those who gather on Jingubashi. You can find Visual Kei cosplayers, those dressed as their favorite musicians, and those in the subculture known as Gothic Lolita. Gothic Lolita fashion is characterized by dark makeup and clothing. Red lipstick and smoky or neatly defined eyes, created using black eyeliner, are typical styles, although as with all Lolita substyles, the look remains fairly natural. Gothic Lolita usually uses dark color schemes including black, dark blues, and purples, but black and white is the most popular. In Western Gothic styles, cross jewelry and religious symbols, bags and purses in shapes like bats, coffins, and crucifixes are also used to accessorize the Gothic Lolita look. Black parasols, reminiscent of the Victorian era, are also typical of Gothic Lolita.
Gothic Lolita has many substyles and can be mixed with other Lolita fashions. Elegant Gothic Lolita and Elegant Gothic Aristocrat are two such substyles coined by the Visual Kei artist Mana in connection with his own fashion label called Moi-même-moitié. The look aims for a more sophisticated Gothic style. Like visual style music, punk music and the fashions of Western punk bands can be used with Gothic Lolita styles to create punk Gothic Lolita.
Punk Lolita adds punk fashion elements to Lolita fashion, motifs that are usually found in punk clothing such as tattered fabric, ties, safety pins and chains, screen-printed fabrics, plaids, and short androgynous hairstyles are incorporated into the Lolita look. The most popular garments are blouses or cut sews and skirts, although dresses and jumper skirts are also worn. Common footwear includes boots, Mary Jane, or Oxfords with platforms. Also, Gothic is fairly often blended with Sweet Lolita to create a softer goth look, and the style is simply called Gothic Sweet.
Sweet Lolita, also known as Amairori in Japanese, is the most heavily influenced by Rococo styles. Focusing on the childhood and fantasy aspects of Lolita, the Sweet Lolita style adopts the basic Lolita format and uses lighter colors and childlike motifs in its designs. Outfits consist of pastels, fruit themes, flowers, lace, bows, animal themes, and ribbons to emphasize cuteness. Popular themes in the Sweet Lolita are references to Alice in Wonderland, sweets, and classic fairy tales. Jewelry often reflects these fantasy themes as well. Headdresses, bonnets, and bows are a popular hair accessory to the Sweet Lolita look. Bags and purses usually have a princess-like design and often take the shape of strawberries, crowns, hearts, and stuffed animals.